Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, every students of semester 7, now we are going to discuss about the introductions of journalism. There are some points that we are going to discuss about this point. For the first time, I would like to discuss about the definitions of journalism, and the second time, I would like to discuss about the history of journalism in Indonesia. Okay, everybody, now we are going to discuss about the definitions of journalism based on some expert. For the first time, I would like to show you the definitions of journalism proposed by Bond. Well, based on Bond's opinion, the definitions of journalism is all activities to create news and reviews about an event. So when we are talking about creating a news, making a news, and review about event in the daily activity, and we are going to make a news or a story about it, and we want to report about the event for the public, it is called as journalism. So when there is an event in a daily activity, every event, then we are going to report that event to the public, then we write a news about it, then it is called as journalism activity. It is the first definitions of journalism based on Bond. The second definitions proposed by Wolseley. According to him, journalism is the systematic and reliable collection. So, systematic and reliable collection, collecting, writing, interpretation, processing, and disseminations of general informations. So, we are going to collect the informations. After collecting the information, we write the information. After writing the information, we interpret the information. After interpreting the information, we process to be news. Then after processing to be news, then we disseminate the informations systematically and reliable. It is called a journalism. And what we are going to write is for public. So after writing a product of journalism, whether publications in a newspaper, magazine, or broadcast on TV or radio, we inform the information to public through newspaper, magazine, and broadcast or on TV or radio. It is called journalism. For the first time, the first point that we have to underline is about the steps of collecting. So in journalism, there's a step for collecting a data, collecting information. What information that we are going to write? When does the event happen? Where does the event happen? And why or how does the event happen? We collect the data about them, about the events. After getting the data about the informations, then we write it, and then we write the information. After writing the information, we interpret the informations. After interpreting the information, we create a news process to be a news. And then after getting the news, after finishing writing the news, then we disseminate the information to the public. It is called a journalism according It is called a journalism according to Wolseley. And then we are going to discuss about journalism according to FND. According to FND, journalism is defined as technique of managing news from obtaining material to disseminating it to the public. So the first one is managing a news. Managing news means collecting the information. After collecting the informations, we write the information, and then we publish the information to the public. It is called a journalism based on FND. Then the next one, we are going to conclude about the definitions of journalism based on those definitions above. We can conclude that journalism is the activity. So journalism is the activity. The activity of what? Collecting information. So journalism is an activity of collecting information. Information about what? Of course, about an event. So we are going to collect the information about an event. Then after collecting the information, we write the information. We write the information. Right, for what? For making a news. After finishing making a news, when we distribute it to the public through various media, we can publish the product of journalism through printed media or online media. This is the definitions of journalism based on what some expert definitions above. So the first one is journalism is about collecting activity about collecting the informations. Collecting information is about events, and then after getting the data, we write to the news. After finishing writing about the news, we distribute it into the public through various media, online or offline. This is called as a journalism based on our discussion today. The next one, basically, journalism is a one-way communication activity from newsmaker to the public. So, for the first time, journalism is only one-way communication. The journalist make a news, then the public read the news, cannot comment for the news for the first time because it is a printed mass media for the first time. Basically, so just one-way communications. But along with the development of technology, the one-way communication model in journalism has now changed into two-way communications. Now we can see some informations produced by TV or radio. We can directly, the readers or listeners can directly give a comment, give a response to the news that we read or to the news that we see. It is called two-way communications. A long time ago, when we read the information, we cannot give a comment, we cannot give a response. But now, based on that, because of technology, we can give a comment for the news that we read or the news that we see or watch. As, for example, we can we can see the news from YouTube video, or we can read the media from the mass media, the news from mass media online virtually, and then we can give a comment directly. When we give a comment directly, it is called two-way communications. Why is it called a two-way communications? Because the newsmaker make a news, and then we read, then we give a comment. When we give a comment, it means that we have a occasion to discuss with the newsmaker. It is called as two-way communication. It happens because of technology. So for the first time, when there was not a technology, we cannot have two-way communications in journalism. But because of technology now, we can have two-way communications in journalism. Then the next one of the positive impact of technology in journalistic activities is that information can be spread quickly to the public. Now we can see in a daily activity, the event happens in the morning, even in the morning at 7 o'clock, even at that time being, we can get the information directly without waiting for the next day. Directly at that time, we can get the information. It is the positive effects of technology in journalistic activities. However, the positive effect not only being had by journalistic activity, also it also has a negative impact for the developments of journalism. Because of technology, it gives a negative impact. namely reductions in the quality of journalistic product in terms of completeness and accuracy of information. I often read a news nowadays in a mass media, online mass media, but I cannot get complete information. When I read, I have questions in my mind, then the news cannot give complete information about the event. It is the negative effect of of technology in journalism, and also sometimes the accuracy of information also has a problem because of technology. Without any validity, without trying to get the validity of the data, then the newsmaker directly publish the news. It is the negative effect of journalism, technology in journalism. The accuracy now is very low. Well, everybody, now we are going to discuss about the history of journalism in Indonesia. Tirto Adi Suryo found the mass media called Medan Priyayi on 1907. Then other mass media were born such as Bintang Timur, Bintang Barat, and Java Born after that. It means that journalistic activity has been started before the independence of Indonesia. Even journalism is a tool in the struggle to win Indonesian independence. Therefore, during the Japanese era, several mass media were banned because at that time, some people used journalism as a tool to invite other people to win the Indonesian independence, to invite all people in Java, in Sumatra, in Kalimantan, in Sulawesi. They are inviting all the people around Nusantara to win Indonesian independence through journalistic activity. So that's why at that time, like Bintang Timur, and then Bintang Barat, Java Bound, and then Medan Priyayi were banned by Dutch at that time. Were banned by Dutch at that time by Netherlands. In 1913, Swardi wrote an article in Bumi Putra newspaper opposing Dutch government's plan to levy a land tax. His article was entitled "I Am a Dutchman." Suwardi wrote and protest about the tax policy that was implemented for many people in Nusantara by the Dutch, protested. So opposed the Dutch governments at that time about the tax through journalistic activity. In 1913, before the independence of Indonesia. So that's why journalistic activity is actually an important activity for us. It can be used for education, it can be used for struggling, it can be used for anything, and information, positive informations for other people, or inviting other people to do positive thing in the world or in the public. Thank you very much for your attentions. This is the introductions of journalism that we can discuss today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.